and welcome back to another episode of the Korok Seed Master Mode Challenge. Today we will be continuing through our quest to collect 20 more Korok seeds, as we do every single week here. But first, before we do, we definitely have an encounter that we want to take care of, which is one that we alluded to at the end of last week's episode, and that is going to be the fight here against this Hinox. Now, this is a black Hinox. He's not the most difficult of the enemies that you can take on. But he does have down on his ankle a guard that will make things a little bit more difficult when it comes to doing combat up close and personal. He's honed in on this tree a little bit, which can be a little bit concerning, but upon knocking him in the eye, he does go ahead and drop that down. Now, we probably could burn off his leg wrap if we were to use some fire, as it does appear to be more of the wood itself, whereas a lot of the higher level, more difficult Hinoxes that we can face off against have metal wraps around their ankles and around both of them. But this is really going to be all we needed to do to take him on and finish him off. And with a final slam down of our spin attack there, we've got him taken care of. So that'll give us a couple of more monster parts that we can sell off and a couple of other things there. Seed number 521 is going to be the first seed in our little journey here. We do need to make sure that we have the magnesis active, and I really like this one. It's a very simple puzzle, but it's in a way that we haven't really seen it before, where the blocks themselves are actually melded into the build that you need to go up onto in order to complete the puzzle. So really nice change in pace of the magnesis Korok seed puzzles that we've seen so far. Seed 522 is going to be a ways down. We're going to want to drop a couple of Octorok balloons on top of this slab to move it up out of the way. We're running a little bit low on those, so we might need to make sure that we take out a couple of these Octoroks that are running around this little meadow here to replenish our stock a bit, as I'm not sure how many more of these slab type Korok seeds we're going to need to encounter here. But we've got this guy all freed up, and of course we've got to drop the rock back down on top of his head and make sure that we claim our reward from there. Seed number 523 is actually a short walk away from that last one, and it is up in the branches of this tree. It is a little bit difficult for me to get to in the current weather, but I didn't want to sit around and wait, so we did make sure that we got all the way up into the top here. And upon lifting the rock off the top of this guy's head, we can collect that seed. And we also get our stamina automatically refreshed as a part of this cutscene as well. So we'll drop the rock back down on top of this guy's head. And ooh, look, an acorn. Seed number 524 is one that I actually had to go and get some stamina replenish elixirs taken care of. And I actually learned something new on this one. And that is right here, you'll see that I am completely out of stamina. But as I replenish the stamina with food that I've eaten by pausing here and replenishing the health bar, I actually grab onto the ledge with that replenished stamina even though I was out of it. So I decided to try it again because I've still got a little sliver here, and that means that the jump is going to be up a little higher. And right before we grab back onto that ledge and then fall back down, we do the same thing, this time with a stamina replenish elixir that actually gives us a little bit of extra stamina as well. And we just managed to make it up there. It's a very difficult stamina puzzle to do in terms of the stamina that we're restricting ourselves to in this challenge, but we got it, and I'm happy with it. Seed number 525 is going to be pretty simple apart from that bomb arrow I just took to the back. But all we need to do now is run this rock down to the pattern puzzle that's down on the bottom side of this cliff. Now, the bokoblins there, they are going to keep launching some bomb arrows at us, but we are far enough out of range at this point to where we don't need to worry about it. Probably should have launched that rock or thrown it down here just to make sure that we got it into a position we could work with it in. And I, of course, hit the R button instead of the B button or the A button to just drop it there. So that took up a little more time than it otherwise would. But at the end of the day, we got the seed and expended a fairy, but we can get those back as we know exactly where to go and grab them should we need to get a couple more. Seed number 526 is going to be in the area surrounding Death Mountain, where there is a large dead tree up here with a rock nestled in the branches. And we'll just need to lift that off of this guy's head, grab the seed from him, and then of course we've got to give him that cover because even though it's nighttime here, the sun's going to come back up and it's going to get hotter than it already does on top of this volcano. But apparently it doesn't balance on top of his head all that way and we fell down to the ground. Seed number 527, it's a pattern puzzle of sorts, but this one really made me angry. So what it is up here on top of the gut check rock with the Gore Tor shrine, there are a sequence of boulders and rocks pillars with small little rocks on top of them. And this one that I landed on, you've got to grab the rock and move it over to the edge so it matches the rest of them. And I'm really glad that I dropped it instead of throwing it like we did with the last rock we were working with. That one made me a little upset, but you know, it's what we needed in order to grab the seed from this spot, and now we can move on to the next, which is going to be behind this wall that we need to blast away. So chucking that bomb right into place there, that gives us access to this seed, and that is going to be really what we need for it. So we can then drop the rock back down on top of this guy's head and progress on to the next seed, which is going to be another wall that we blast away. This one in a slightly different location, but, you know, every seed counts in this journey as we continue through. So, like treatment here, we drop the seed back down on top of this guy's head and move along to seed number 530, which marks the midway point of today's episode, which is actually going to be a magnesis puzzle. And this one we need to take from this structure over to the adjoining one that's over there, and I did have a little bit of difficulty sussing out where the block needed to go, but after a couple of trial and errors you will get the hang of it. I probably actually could have accidentally gotten it there, as there is that little lip of the structure that you can use to slide into the little notch that's on the back side that you'll see here in just a moment. But we did figure it out, and we get the seed from this spot as well. And you can actually see in the background here the location of seed number 531. Yep, it's that Leviathan corpse. And there are a couple of other ones that we've seen so far, but this one is very different in its placement because instead of up on top of a spine or a spire, this one is going to be in the eye socket, and there is a pile of leaves that we need to burn out, and we can then pick up the rock and grab the seed from this spot also. Now I know he's relatively secluded here in the eye socket of this whale, but we will want to go ahead and provide him a little bit more cover with that rock before leaving him. It's time to unlock ourselves another tower. This one's going to be up over the woodland area, and this does oversee the Lost Woods and the home of the Koroks. But we will not be headed into that area because, first off, there's no seeds that we have to obtain within the forest itself, and we don't want to get anywhere near Hetsu until we can hand over every single Korok seed in the game. Now, this next seed is one that I thought I could get a little bit different, as there is a very up close and personal shot of this balloon, but from my perspective it looked like it was close enough to hit with a weapon, and maybe you could hit it with a spear. I didn't have a spear on hand to try it with, but as you can see here from this side view, it's just out of range of the sword that we're swinging. It's actually right behind the little tag that you see over here on the right side indicating what seed we're on. But right here, we just loose an arrow because it's the easiest shot that you'll ever take at that close of a range. So we did end up getting the seed. I'm a little bit disappointed that we couldn't do it in a different manner, but it is what it is. Seed number 533 is another sequence of Korok balloons that we're going to need to pop. These three go around in circles of varying speed, and so we do go ahead and grab a couple of extra shots here. I wasn't able to hone in on this one as easily as I thought, or I think I was undershooting for most of it. But right here with this final shot of our regular arrows, we do end up missing. So we swap over to our shock arrows because that's the arrow that I have the most of currently, and also relatively easy access to restocking them. We did have to move away from that target momentarily to take out the fire keese as he flew up on front of us, but right here we do manage landing the last shot, so we can mark this one off as being completed as well. So we can now move on to seed number 534, which is going to be an acorn that is lodged in this tree stump. And I like to conserve arrows wherever I can, so we go ahead and chuck a bomb right towards the end of that stump and blast it in order to claim the seed from this location before climbing all the way up to the top of this mountain and lifting this rock off the top of this guy's head to get seed number 535 of our overall adventure. We go ahead and drop this rock back down on top of the guy's head as well before we take a long glide down to the roof of this forgotten temple where we find ourselves another Magnesis puzzle. This one took me a moment to figure out where the block was. It's hiding back behind here, but we did swing it over, and I actually accidentally completed this puzzle, not intending to, but it slid right into the location where it needed to be, and that was all she wrote. So we can progress out into the area where we're under a little less cover as we seek out this rock that's behind this bombable wall, which is up on the other side of the canyon. You can see in the map down in the bottom right hand corner that I have not uncovered the area map of this location just yet, but that's not going to stop us from tracking down the seed itself. So we can drop the rock back down on top of this guy's head and then jump back down into the ravine over the top of the Forgotten Temple for another wall that we can blast away here. And as soon as we do, we rinse and repeat the exact same pattern that we'd seen, only this time it's under cover of a little bit brighter daylight, which is all well and good there as well. Kind of looks like he's missing his right arm from this type of angle because we're not seeing the dual-wielding sticks that they typically have. Seed number 539 is a nice break to the pattern that we've been seeing recently, where we can go ahead and roll this boulder down the hill into the large hole that's down there at the end. And the good thing is that as soon as you get that boulder rolling, you can drop it in on its own, or it will auto find its way into that hole without any other course correction needed, unlike some of the previous ones we've seen that are that same type of seed. And finally, for today's video, seed number 540 is going to be another little wall that we need to bomb out. This opens up a little crevice right at the front of this Forgotten Temple, and upon lifting the rock off the top of this guy's head, we are well on our way into the starting point of next week's episode. So thanks again for watching. If you found this video helpful and or enjoyable, please feel free to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more daily content. And we will be back tomorrow with another Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 video. So thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.